Good morning. Our hand today is going to be 7-6 of clubs. We are in early position, first act. We open raise and we get two callers. So in this spot, this should be our open raising range. I added 7-6. Probably would have also added pocket fives. Is there a reason for that? No, it's because I think at this point I was trying to work without using any sort of pre-flop ranges. Just trying to work on thinking about what we're playing, and with the suited connector, we're putting these in just to really mix up our games. That way we don't become so predictable with only raising good hands that we really need a high flop. So if flop comes middle cards or low cards, we have a real chance of actually hitting it. These next two guys are loose players. 0% 3-bet raise for both of them. This guy actually has a 4-bet range. Said we've got a called 2-bet from the blinds range that includes aces. I'm going to say that there's a chance that he's just going to call with his big pocket pairs and like ace king. Same thing with this guy. We haven't seen him raise or 3-bet yet out of 32 attempts. I'm not just going to say he never 3-bets. I'm going to scale those. But of these two players, I think our big blind is going to be the looser of the players. This guy's playing 54 from early position, calls 2-bet 60%. We got called from the big blinds 10-8 suited king jack off. I mean, not a whole lot we could tell, so I went with this. This is like 39%. I gave 50% to those. I mean, we could easily add a bit more to him. And again, just kind of make it reasonable. What hands do I typically see players play? I'm just gonna leave it here and go from there. This next guy, his stat isn't as high at 30% VPIP, but when we look at big blind, it's 45%. So we're looking at least 50%, probably 40 to 50%. I think since he's the big blind and we already have a caller and he closes the action, he's going to be more likely to call. So I should put a range something like this. Also, when we looked at that call, 2-bet from the blind range, we've got ace 10 suited, we've got 9-4 suited, 8-5 suited, ace jack off, jack 8 off. So we've got some junk that I've included. The only one I didn't was that 9-4 suited. And both of these I scaled and said I think they're probably, let's just give 100% for the queens. They should be raising. I don't know if they do raise these, so I just scaled them to 50%. All right, flop comes out, jack 5-4. So this is kind of a good reason why we like to include some of these middle suited connectors in our range. So on a board like this, it's not going to be, well, we have top pair or nothing. We actually have a draw. Now, we don't have a whole lot of draws, and we're up against wide ranges. So we do have to pay attention to that. But when we look at, what kind of drawing hands do we have, I mean, that's about it. We've got the bottom pairs that we can use as a bluff, and I do think we should use them as a bluff. I think this is a situation with the range being so large, with these guys' ranges being so wide, we should probably be c-betting a lot. Even though this is multi-way and we normally play more straightforward multi-way pot, I think they've got such a wide range that we should bet here, and we should probably bet again if we improve in any way, or if we have the impression of improving, we should be betting. We do have the open-ender that we could fall back on. So looking at our value, I definitely think we're going to have some of these top pairs as values. I think 2-card backdoor flush draws, we can't include all of them, but we could easily include some of our overs, some of our hands that could kind of improve with like a runner, backdoor. That's our over 2-card backdoor flush draw. Or over cards, I think like ace king, ace queen could be betting there. Top pair, I I do think we're probably betting just because, again, villain has such a wide range, both of them. Let's get that. So I think we're doing something like this. I really do. Even with our under pairs, if we happen to spike trips, that's great too. So I think that's what our C bet should be. We don't have that opportunity because villain leads into us, and that really changes things. So what is he doing? Do I have notes on him? No, I had notes on this guy is leading. He donked with like a second pair with a king. That kind of makes sense with an ace king. He's gonna lead with that ace weak kicker, possibly the king, just to kind of see where do they stand. And he's definitely betting really small. This guy bets, yeah, actually fairly large. So the question is, what is he doing that with? And do we have anything else that can give us a clue as to what he has? So donk 29%, 2 out of 7. Donk spot with top pair or better. So we're going to give him at least top pair. I think sets would probably just check raise it. I think same thing with top pair. So I'm going to give him top pair over pair, and that's about it. I think that's going to be his range based on our stats. And probably everything, all of these top pair hands. That comes back to us. What do we do? I think question is, if we call, does this guy call? I think it's just straight up sets we're gonna raise. I think over pairs we're probably just gonna call. I think we can see what develops with our aces and kings. Top pair probably just calls, I believe. I think the overpair, maybe we have a raise for aces and maybe with kings. I think with kings, if we raise and it goes check and he checks us on the turn, we could easily check behind and just try to keep the pot small. Or we can call it here. I'm gonna say, let's say 50% of the time we call, and just see how it goes. And I think queens call here. I think aces raises, and then top pair calls. Pocket pair, less than the top card. I don't think we're calling those. I do think we're calling with the open ender. And the gut shot, I don't. Maybe. I think with two players, with a player behind us, I just don't think we do that. So I think we're calling 19%, and that's it. This hand falls into it. So we call, and then this next villain folds. All right, so two of us see a flop of a king, of a 5 of clubs. So we do improve. If he checked, this could be a good spot to bet here, kind of represent the jack. And we fall back on. Should we raise? Even though this looks good, I don't think we want to raise, because what could we be representing? If we raise, we're representing basically queens, maybe kings. I'm not even sure if we could rep jacks. Maybe we could rep jacks, but if we have jacks, it makes it very easy for villain 5. If he has a top pair good kicker, he's probably going to call, or he's going to re-raise it. If he has trips, he's going to re-raise. Two pair, he's going to re-raise. And I don't think we necessarily want to do that with our hand here. So when the 5 gets there, we're going to say, yeah, he's probably betting with top pair and an over pair again. For us, I don't think it really makes sense to raise at all. So I think we still call with the over pair. I think with top pair, at this point, let's see here, bet sizing was about half pot. I think you could justify it somewhat folding some of these top pair hands like Jack 9, Jack 10. I think he's kind of representing that he has a decent hand. I'd hate to call with these just to fold to another river bet, even though I kind of feel like I'm gonna be beat. So I think those are hands that we could probably fold. It's a tight fold, but I think you could probably fold. We're still calling with flush draw. We're still calling with the open ender. And I think we have all of those. I don't really want to raise because, again, that 5, how does that improve our hand? Do we have like an ace-4? Do we have an ace-5? Maybe. Would we have called the flop with an ace-5? Maybe. That hand just doesn't seem like it completes a story for us. All right, so I raised, which again I don't really like. I understand why I did. I improved to open ender with the flush draw, but again the 5 doesn't really tell us anything. I think at this point this raise is telling us maybe an overpair of queens, maybe kings and jack, maybe jack ace, jack king, and villain calls. So if we raise, I'd probably raise with the same type of hands. We're unbalanced now. I wouldn't raise with these. Yeah, I don't think I'd raise with top pair either. I think we would be raising with something like that. That would be a raise, and villain calls. So out of all of these, does he come over the top? I'm gonna say 50% chance that he just calls with aces and kings and queens, even with this overpair. Definitely with aces. I think kings probably calls too. He gets spooked and doesn't want to proceed. So we just narrowed his range just a little bit. River 3 completes our straight, which is great. I think at this point we're betting when he checks to us. Pot 75. He's got 53. I think we just shove and put them all in with our hand. We connect with the straight. We connect with our overpair. If he has aces, he has aces. But I think that would be the play with how we played it. We did. He calls, and we should address like what does he call with? I think top pair. It's a question. Does he call with all of those weak top pairs, or is it just ace jack? And even with our overpair, ace king queen, does he have all of those? Again, maybe queens are less likely for us to bet. I think based on his calling range, maybe we just check behind with our queens, and even we could possibly just check behind with our kings a little bit. But we're definitely betting. He calls. He shows 8-5, so trip fives, which is interesting. So I didn't even have that in there because I did not think he would be betting. I thought his bet was top pair plus, and he obviously didn't have that. So let's take some notes here, and then kind of think about how we played overall. So pre-flop, he overcalled EPs 3 big blind RFI in big blind with 8-5 of hearts, and then he is out of position. He bet 50%, bet 50%, and call. And let's say 3x raise, and then check call. We'll just say 66% all in. He's got jack of clubs, 5 of diamonds, 4 of hearts, 5 of clubs, and 3 of spades. So what do I think of this hand? Not sure if I really like that raise. That raise on the turn. I think when we work out, some of our ranges, yeah, we improve. We've got a pretty big draw, but the question is, how does that 5 help us? Other than the flush draw, that's about it. I think it's going to be hard for us to have ace-5, ace-4, or ace-5, or any 5, especially when we're in early position and we're raising first in. Most likely, hands when we bet like that would be like a top pair, top kicker, maybe some over pairs. I think trips definitely comes in for a raise on the flop. Um, and I think that kind of brings us to that second part. Could we have raised the flop? Yeah, we could have raised the flop. I think it's definitely doable. We do have a player behind us that has a wide range. It's just unusual for this villain to be leading into us. And normally when people lead, it's top pair, we kicker. Um, in this hand, we've got top pair plus. So donk flop with top pair or better. Well, obviously this does not fit it. Um, we also have called 2 bets from blinds, 8-5 suited. Yeah, that's on there. So it's really just the player. I think typical players have that top pair, and when they have that jack, I don't expect to get a lot of folds. So if we're not getting a lot of folds, then why bet as a semi bluff? I mean, those you need fold equity to make those profitable. So yeah, it's. I mean, we took a stack, and that was good, but I'm just not sure if the raise was good on the turn. And again, I'm not even sure if a raise would have been good on the flop either. Um, I think it would be different if there was like maybe an ace or a king, or maybe if the turn was like a king of clubs or an ace of clubs. I think at that point, or maybe even a queen of clubs, that starts to make our hand much more believable with a raise. Um, you know, how many players are going to put us on an open ender at that point? I think having a Broadway card kind of makes a little bit more sense for our hand. It would make it seem more likely that maybe we hit a top pair or even 2 pair type hand, and really generate more fold equity, especially against like the ace jack or like the jack 10, jack 9 hands that could be donking. So, how do I think it played overall? Okay. I think this would be a decent one to look at GTO if we were heads up, and maybe we do need to at some point uh, check it out. So hopefully enjoy the sand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.